Good morning. Welcome to the Wilson Center here in Washington, D.C. We are established as a living memorial to the former president. That means that we are congressionally chartered, scholarship-driven, and fiercely nonpartisan. I'm Robin Quinville. I'm director of the Global Europe program here at Wilson, and we are focused on how Europe is addressing the global challenges we face today. Among those challenges is the threat to Europe's security architecture, and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe is a fundamental part of that. The 57 states that participate in the OSCE rotate the chairmanship of the organization annually, and Malta holds that role this year, which is why we are so delighted to welcome Malta's foreign minister to the Wilson Center today. Foreign Minister Borg has been a member of Malta's parliament since 2013. He became Minister for Foreign and European Affairs and Trade in March of 2022, and that was just shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We are also delighted to welcome Malta's ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Schwab, and his wife Kay to the Wilson Center today. Thank you for making this event possible in the minister's busy schedule. Also joining us today is a true expert on the OSCE, Ambassador David Johnson. He is a career diplomat and served as our ambassador to the OSCE in a formative period from 1998 to 2001. He went on to be the State Department's coordinator for Afghanistan, our DCM in London, and the department's assistant secretary for international narcotics and law enforcement affairs. So here's how this is going to go today. I'm going to hand over the floor to the foreign minister, who will give some keynote remarks. He will then join Ambassador Johnson for a discussion, and then we will leave some time for questions and answers with you, our audience. So be thinking of those and be ready, because we will have some folks wandering around with microphones. Remember, if you ask a question and you don't answer it and you don't ask it on the mic, our audience won't hear it. And I should let you all know as well that C-SPAN is filming today. Mr. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Director Quinville, and good morning. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you also for coming, and I would like to thank the Wilson Institute for extending this invitation. Thank you also to the Global Europe program and the Cannon Institute for hosting this event. I was telling Director Quinville when we were coming up that it's becoming also an annual visit for the CIO of the OSCE. I've noticed that my predecessor, Minister Osmani, was also addressing you last year. I enjoy taking part in debates outside the political bubble. I always find it to be a pleasant and rejuvenating exercise for me, and I'm sure I will have an interesting discussion with Ambassador Johnson, whom I thank also for being here with us this morning. It also allows me the valuable opportunity to momentarily step back from the day-to-day intricacies of my different roles as Foreign Minister, OSCE Chair-in-Office, and at the moment Malta also serves on the UN Security Council as an elected member for the years 2023-2024. Actually, this month we are also presiding over the council, and also as national politician, engaging in meaningful and productive reflection. These moments provide a platform to exchange perspectives, share insights, and discuss new approaches with individuals who share a keen interest in the global landscape. With this in mind, I will try to keep my remarks on international politics and the present state of affairs around us concise, to engage to an interactive and dynamic exchange in the time allocated. I look forward to your thoughts, experiences, concerns, but also recommendations, which I am sure will enrich my own. I wanted to begin this session by drawing out on some of my personal experience and memories from the past. Although I was still a young child during the historic moment that marked the end of the Cold War, I still vividly remember the sense and feeling of the beginning of what appeared to be the emergence of an age of great optimism. When I look back on those years, what I remember most is exactly this: the optimism marked by a genuine belief that a page in history had effectively been turned. A strong sense that the world was truly moving towards the grand vision of a rules-based international order. Democracy, human rights and fundamental freedoms, free markets and the eradication of poverty, multilateralism and respect for the rule of international law, to name a few. It was widely believed that these were some of the things that would make a difference and bring peace and stability to the world. With the benefit of hindsight, I ask myself, were we naive to be so hopeful? As a public servant and politician, one of my most important responsibilities, and I dare say the principal one, is to engage directly with people, to actively listen to their views and concerns, and to delve into their perceptions of global affairs. Through these interactions, a concerning trend has become increasingly apparent to me: a noticeably decline in optimism about the state of the world. The sentiment, most frequently conveyed, suggests a growing skepticism towards the prospect of peace and stability, a sentiment that seems to gain traction with each passing day. Regrettably, a brief observation of the present global landscape provides little reassurance to counteract this growing disillusionment. The challenges and conflicts that dominate headlines do little to dispel the insecurity, fears, and cynicism that many feel. Tensions among countries, nations, and peoples are extremely high. We are confronted with an era of profound change and uncertainty. 8 years after World War II, we have seen a multitude of initiatives, setting up of international organizations, signing of treaties, convening global conferences, summits, solemn promises, and innumerable UN resolutions. Yet, this international rules-based order, designed to save future generations from the devastating pain and horrors of war, is currently facing the most serious existential threat to its integrity. Multilateral frameworks, established not only to prevent conflicts from breaking out, but also to foster lasting peace, now face an erosion of their effectiveness as they strive to meet the complex demands of our world. For more than 2 years, we are witnessing once again a devastating conflict on European soil. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine not only reverberates through the dark corridors of history, but also serves as a stark reminder of the trials our multilateral system currently faces on a daily basis. The proliferation of conflicts, the decline of peace and stability, as well as the erosion of effective multilateralism are three of the most serious threats to our security. However, despite the magnitude of the challenges that we are facing, losing hope and allowing cynicism to consume us cannot and must not be an option. More importantly, we must move beyond rhetoric, and our commitment to peace and multilateralism, and veer towards tangible actions. It's essential to embody the principles we advocate, turning our declarations into deeds. I think most of you here will agree with me in saying that any multilateral organization depends on the work and the commitment of all its members, regardless of their size. And this is precisely why Malta accepted to request and assume the chair of OSCE for this year at the 11th hour. Amid the short but intense preparations of our chairpersonship, we crystallized our vision around a motto that captures our approach and aspirations: strengthening resilience, enhancing security. We recognize that enhancing security is intrinsically linked to strengthening resilience. Our island nation, though small, is steeped in a history of resilience, of overcoming adversity through perseverance and adaptability. It is this experience of inherent resilience that Malta brings to the OSCE. We are determined to find effective and sustainable solutions to strengthen the OSCE's ability to operate under unprecedented circumstances and its capabilities to respond adequately and resolutely to the evolving security landscape. We acknowledge the significant challenges currently facing the OSCE. These difficulties are not unique to our organization. As I already mentioned, most, if not all, multilateral institutions are under considerable pressure. That being said, the OSCE's distinct structure means that it confronts its own set of particular challenges. We recognize these and remain committed to addressing them with the diligence and innovation they deserve. To this end, our chairpersonship is working hard to facilitate consensus on all necessary institutional decisions, that is, a sound financial basis, a fully fledged executive leadership, and future OSCE chairs. In fact, the OSCE is built on the consensus principle, which means that every 57 participating state can veto any decision. Beyond the institutional challenges of the organization, the challenging security situation in the OSCE region continues dictating a major part of our agenda. Russia's illegal war of aggression against Ukraine is the gravest threat to the European security architecture since the end of the Second World War. I saw the devastation caused by this war firsthand during my visit to Ukraine, my first visit in my capacity as Chair-in-Office. This war must come to an end. It severely undermines the principles and the commitments which all the 57 participating states of the OSCE have agreed to. And during my recent visits to the Republic of Moldova, in Serbia and Kosovo, I also saw the wider implications of this war and how this is affecting the wider region. As chair of the OSCE, Malta is committed to the safeguarding the organization's principles and commitments, including those enshrined in the Helsinki Final Act and the Charter of Paris. Our message is clear. The OSCE must remain anchored in its principles and commitments. This is not optional, but integral to restoring peace and security in our region. Throughout our chairpersonship, we will hold a consistent and principled position, using the organization as a platform for accountability for acts in breach of the OSCE commitments and principles. And in the face of prevailing challenges, it's important to recognize that the OSCE is far from dormant or inactive. For example, our 16 field missions do an exceptional and unique job on the ground. Their unwavering commitment to fulfilling their mandate is amplified through direct interaction and result-oriented cooperation with the local communities, with governments, with civil society organizations. Our mission members are ensuring that the principles and objectives of the organization are implemented effectively, thus making a difference in people's lives. Malta is determined to follow a robust and dynamic program across the OSCE's 3 dimensions: the politico-military, economic and environmental, and human dimensions. The organization's comprehensive and collaborative approach to security allows us to promote a more inclusive and effective dialogue on peace and stability. With this comprehensive concept of security encompassing the OSCE remains a crucial forum for dialogue and consensus building among its participating states. With a vast array of skills and expertise at its disposal, the organization continues to play a crucial role across its participating states. It also serves as an indispensable platform for fostering inclusive dialogue, driving initiatives that are essential for sustainable peace and security. Additionally, within the intricate framework of OSCE, several institutions play a specific role of upholding democracy and human rights across participating states. Notably, the Office of Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, better known as ODIHR, based in Warsaw, well known for its election observation methodology across participating states to ensure free and fair democratic processes. This year being an important election year for the OSCE's region, the work of ODIHR remains indispensable for the promotion and protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, while strengthening democracy and the rule of law. Another key institution is the High Commissioner of National Minorities, based in The Hague. This office possesses the mandate to intervene in any participating state without prior permission if minority issues arise, through dialogue facilitation, thus preventing potential escalations. This method has proven effective in numerous instances, such as in North Macedonia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and various other regions, showcasing OSCE's commitment to peace and stability. The Parliamentary Assembly, located in Copenhagen, brings together parliamentarians from participating states, fostering legislative dialogue and cooperation, while facilitating inter-parliamentary dialogue to advance OSCE's goals and comprehensive security. The PA also works towards the strengthening and consolidation of democratic institutions in the OSCE participating states. Equally vital is the representative on the freedom of media, who plays a critical role in highlighting cases of media suppression and violence against journalists. The role of the RFOM is important in ensuring that participating states abide by their commitments to freedom, expression, and free media. At the heart of the OSCE's decision-making process is the Permanent Council, where ambassadors and delegates from all the 57 participating states convene weekly at the Hofburg Palace in Vienna. This council is the only platform where Russia and Ukraine still sit at the same table, despite the prevailing tensions. It also underscores the OSCE's role as a vital forum for open discussion especially in times of conflict, highlighting the organization's potential as a linchpin for future diplomatic engagements and also peace initiatives. With this overview, my main aim was to highlight the critical challenges we face while illustrating also OSCE's efforts in addressing them. The OSCE is not only alive, but is still executing relevant work that warrants our continued support. I outlined the array of tools available to the organization, which supports our participating states in strengthening resilience. I also provided you with a glimpse of our priorities to our chairpersonship for this year, 2024. And now I look forward to our discussion and also questions from your end. Thank you.
Mr. Minister, thank you so much for that broad overview of the OSCE's responsibilities and the challenges that you face as chairman in office. My colleagues at the Wilson Center fashioned this as a fireside chat, and there's not a fire here, but I do hope that we have a comfortable conversation where we can learn some things from you and about how you think about your work as chairman in office. And first of all, in addition to thanking you for those set of remarks, I personally want to thank you for stepping up to take this responsibility. I know it was an act of international civic responsibility on your part, and also helping to prevent, if you will, an act of international political vandalism to damage the organization. So we're the friends of the OSCE, among whom I consider myself one, are grateful for that. You're in Washington this week and in New York as well, and I presume you're talking about some bilateral issues with the United States government, and talking about some issues that are facing the Security Council, and with a particular emphasis on your responsibilities as chair in office. But what do you need from Uncle Sam? What do you need from the United States in order for your efforts in Vienna and throughout the OSCE region to be successful?
Thank you, Ambassador. So, as you rightly pointed out, we had an organization's crisis at the end of last year because the Russian Federation vetoed Estonia that was supposed to chair in 2024. As an EU member and also friends to Estonia, we kept supporting them because we were more than sure about their capabilities to do this job impartially and also uphold the principles and values of the organization, especially keeping Ukraine at the center of each and every discussion in Vienna and beyond. And since our constant support till the very last minute did not materialize in a consensus to have Estonia chair the organization, one possible or the only possible agreement other participating states could agree on was Malta. We are military neutral, as enshrined in our constitution, but definitely we're not politically neutral to those breaching UN charters and international law. We decided to step in because the OSCE is still very relevant, and we do need an organization that, yes, in its name, it's focusing on Europe, but it's beyond our immediate continent, because among the 57 participating states, the United States, Canada, but also Central Asia, which I think are very important partners in this organization. What do we need from the United States? Well, I would say from each and every participating state. The fact that 56 participating states put their trust in Malta, what we are constantly asking from them now in Vienna and also in the various capitals, is their genuine and transparent support. Transparent support in solving some of the critical decisions that we need to take on the organization. I mentioned in my remarks the budget, the new leadership, but also future chairs. Thank God, before the war in Ukraine, we already had an agreement on Finland chairing 2025. But we'd like to have 2-3 future chairs already agreed upon for better planning and also coordination. So these are 3 organizational decisions that we are working on and for which we need all participating states to agree. So the United States, but also others, are constantly being asked from our mission, from our directors, to help with ironing out issues that exist, mainly trying to find a consensus on these players that can lead the organization, that can chair it in the near future. But meanwhile, we have also, I mentioned 16 missions and various programs and initiatives that I had the opportunity to witness last week, for example, when I was in Moldova, in Serbia, and in Kosovo, and earlier this year in Kiev. The United States was very supportive from day one, not only by placing trust in Malta, but also human resources and other advices to face this responsibility. And we will also keep asking them for support, for example, when it comes to conflicts that are affecting those organizational decisions. We are having now consultations on the budget. We have some disagreements by some of the participating states. Next month, we're going to issue the call for the 4 top positions. Our preference would have been that in Skopje last year was to agree on a 3-year extension. Unfortunately, we arrived in Skopje with a 1-year extension on the table. Together with my predecessor, we jointly met Foreign Minister Lavrov for 10-15 minutes, trying to convince him that the organization needs the current 4 players to stay and have continuation at these challenging times. We agreed on 9 months, but 9 months ends on the 4th of September, so hopefully during the summer we can agree. And I'm not pessimistic. I think we are seeing also constructive approach from participating states to find a consensus. Skopje was my first ministerial meeting to attend, and I kept noticing and listening to my colleagues and ambassadors there. You can tell us your own experience. huge wealth of knowledge on the organization that you have. That if we don't have the OSCE, then we have to set up a new one. I only understood those messages when I started visiting missions, learning more about the programs, and how they are supporting the communities. For example, communities in Pristina, working with local mayors, also from different ethnic groups. The support to media and journalists, and helping governments reform their legislation, being more open to criticism, being more open also to consider the media as the fourth pillar of democracy. Seeing also programs with university students and how they can help in protecting the environment, combating climate change, because this is intrinsically linked and a threat to security. I saw the political mandate that our mission in Moldova has when it comes to the settlement process in the Transnistria region. I met both sides, which was also a message of hope for me to see that 30 years of mandate meant also 30 years of stability, notwithstanding this big political conflict. So I'm now convinced more than ever that we do need the OSCE. The OSCE will not solve all the problems we have, but is definitely helping, especially in preventing new ones, and possibly be that platform where you have parties to conflicts sitting around the table, coming together and move forward. Most probably the wider conflicts we are seeing will not allow us to see results in the year where we are chairing the organization, but we can say that we were part of that chain that eventually led to also some conflicts to be resolved. Ukraine is very much on our agenda, so when PCs are being convened in Vienna, ambassadors have a weekly item on what is going on there and how with the support program for Ukraine we have around 19 initiatives worth 30 million plus, but the organization can and is also assisting Ukraine with that extra budgetary fund to reform itself. It's on the path to joining the European Union, working on detained children to come back home to their families and other areas. Whilst of course keeping in mind that Ukraine needs much more than the OSCE assistance that is getting from allies, from the European Union, from the United States, and that is of course taken into consideration. But the role that the OSCE is playing there, I think, is also highly appreciated by President Zelensky and his administration too. I don't know if I addressed your question.
You did very well, thank you.
But we're looking forward to the continuous support the United States have shown us, and also encourage others to follow suit.
You mentioned in your remarks about the field missions, and you talked about Ukraine especially, and I want to get back to Ukraine, but before that, you also talked about Moldova, and you mentioned that when you were in Skopje, you came to the conclusion that if there wasn't an OSCE, one would have to be invented. I've always thought also as OSCE being if not unique, at least unusual among international organizations, is it can take risks. It can do things that are a little outside the norm. Is this a time to be, if you will, pushing the envelope in Moldova and trying to get some things done as you approach their presidential election and as things are moving in Ukraine next door? Or is this a time to be just steady and try to hold things together?
Very tricky question, which goes to confirm how knowledgeable you are on the organization, but also on the mandate the organization has in Moldova. I found both sides willing to have a continuous stable period where they can agree on some things, and we also identified with both sides some issues that may be discussed, mediated by OSCE, by our head of mission there, and the special representative to the CIO, but also possible with my personal also involvement in that. So we'll see how it goes. Both sides showed their availability to meet and discuss certain issues. Of course, we have to keep in mind that the 1+1 format, since the 5+2 is no longer on the table at this very moment, is moving forward. We'd like to see more meetings, we'd like to see more decisions there, but it's still moving forward. And I think that is the most important thing. Settling the disputes and the process at the moment whilst the war still rages in Ukraine. Initially, I thought that strategically this was the best approach. But I see that there is a wait-and-see approach. And I think this is across the board. I'm not pointing fingers to any sides. It's very clear that Moldova is very committed to the European Union path. This was very clear in my meetings with the President, with the Prime Minister and his team, but also with my counterpart. They also dedicated a new Deputy Prime Minister for European integration, which shows their commitment. Of course, it's a democracy, and they have also political timelines, as you mentioned in your question. It's also clear to me that they know Russia has no limits, and they are carefully noticing what's going on in Ukraine, and also advocating for bigger support to Kiev in order to win this war. They feel vulnerable in the region, and yes, they are reassured with the support from their allies and partners, a special relationship they have with Romania. But it's clear to me that since the Transnistria issue is still pending, still very much in conflict, but they are dealing with it with a rather stable environment. They are more focused in seeing Ukraine win this war. So I don't think that we will have any breakthroughs in the immediate future, but hopefully the OSCE and the dialogue there and the 1+1 process with our mediation will keep things calm as they have been through the 30 years of mandate.
Very good. Thank you. Turning back to Ukraine, you mentioned your visit, the work that the OSCE is doing now, and you also mentioned the weekly political dialogue, if you will, in the Permanent Council on the issue. Are there things that you can do, the organization can do, to get ready for the time when it might be called upon to help implement some sort of peace agreement or some sort of cessation of hostilities that comes about through, or is this just something where you have to wait until things develop on the ground before you can start to think in those terms?
I'd like to be in a position to say yes. And there is the political will from our side and from the institutions of the organization to do so. But you cannot have an effective organization without an approved budget for 3 years, without having a secretary general, without knowing who will chair the organization on the 1st of January next year. I mean, we have an agreement for 2025, but that's sui generis. It's 50 years after Helsinki, and we already know it will be Finland, but for the upcoming years as well. So I'd like to think that the OSCE is the right platform for those discussions, for those negotiations, to assist and facilitate the parties. But we need to ensure that the organization is strengthened, it's healthy, and has the resources, the expertise, which they are there. And you know them, you've been there, but we're constantly risking losing these officials and expertise, and have a brain drain from the organization. And this is because they are still being paid with the rates of a couple of years ago, before we experienced COVID, before we experienced Ukraine, and therefore I see people that want to serve in the organization, want to continue serving in the organization, but faced with opportunities in other multilateral institutions, they are also moving for better conditions. So having the budget approved, having a new leadership that can be agreed upon by all the participating states, and also knowing who will chair the organization, makes the OSCE prepared for that phase whenever the opportunity arises. I mean, one day the war will be over, and then we need actors to do that role. I'm convinced that the OSCE plays an important role during such phase. Let's hope we will have an organization with the necessary resources to do that.
Very good. You mentioned earlier on, both in your prepared remarks and in your response to the first question I asked you, about how focused you were on issues in Central Asia. And I know that the Central Asian states are all looking south and concerned about the security issues that come from a potentially unstable Afghanistan, the gender apartheid issues that are faced by half the population there. in your conversations with the Central Asians, have they been asking the OSCE to play a role here, or do they want you to stay focused on things internally?
I think they highly regard the organization. They are very active in Vienna, but also the missions we have there. And that is why, notwithstanding the already busy schedule, I will make sure to go meet my counterparts there. I had talks with them in Skopje before we started our mandate, and also some pull-asides during conferences where foreign ministers were convened. But my ambassadors keep telling me how willing they are to engage more with the West, with the rest of the participating states from European Union and also transatlantic. As you said, they are concerned when they look south, but also concerned when they look north. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be amiss for us if we don't dedicate enough time to keep an open channel with them, show our commitment, and be their trusted partner. Definitely there are reforms to be made, and also various issues that the independent institutions constantly look at. Challenges that we all face in our societies. It's not only Central Asia, but with particular attention on human rights, governance, freedom of the media, and so on. And they are very receptive. They want the organization to work hand in hand with them. They want to chair in the coming future. They are forthcoming with the budget negotiations. So if we don't engage in this organization with them, then where can we partner with these countries? Yes, there's the UN, but it's a different ballgame. So I think strengthening the partnership with these Central Asian countries is one of the priorities for us Europeans at the OSCE.
Very good. Turning kind of back to in a slightly different direction, you have just had the 20th anniversary anti-Semitism conference.
Correct.
This is a vocation that the OSCE has taken on, particularly in the aftermath of the events of October 6th and the military activities in Gaza. Anti-Semitism, both in the United States and in Europe, has been an issue that we've confronted in much different ways than I think we anticipated a year or two ago. So how do you see the OSCE playing a positive role in developing the ability of its participating states to deal with this issue that just won't go away?
I think a week ago it was a day to remember for us as Malta, but also for the OSCE when we celebrated the 20th anniversary in Malta with a meaningful conference, which was very well attended. And we had also high-level exchanges, bilateral meetings on combating anti-Semitism and other religious beliefs. I have to say we stressed on interfaith discussion. Also because as chair-in-office, we now have 3 special representatives. The one combating anti-Semitism, but also the discrimination against Muslim, and also hate speech against Catholics. So the work that these 3 ambassadors are doing in not only educating our societies and also, I mean, the institutions, how to report, how to tackle such hate speech. The reporting is very, very important, and OSCE is one of those organizations that not only has the data, but actions them as well. Because as you rightly so pointed out, after the terroristic attacks by Hamas on the 7th of October, we saw an exponential increase of hate speech towards the 3 religions, especially also anti-Semitism, and that is why the OSCE having a comprehensive approach towards security is crucial. I saw these also on the ground, these works on the ground when I was in Pristina. Of course, not on anti-Semitism, but on the challenges there exists with the Serbian Orthodox Church there. The conference hopefully served to re-energize the organization, to have mature discussions, to look at its toolbox, the toolkit, and also empower the special representatives to be more effective. I believe that national governments, through their own institutions, have to play an important role in combating anti-Semitism and also hate speech towards other religious beliefs. A multilateral organization on its own cannot solve that problem on its own, but they are definitely the root of many other conflicts that we are witnessing.
Thank you. We've been told that I've rudely dominated the conversation, and we have to bring it to a conclusion. Mr. Minister, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
And for giving us your views. We all, I think
you only asked me questions, so I hope that afterwards I'll have the time in private to ask you some questions.
Absolutely.
And words of advice, knowing your knowledge and experience in the organization.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.